Hi everyone, welcome. My name's Wendy. Today I'm going to be talking about the Aquarius full moon happening August 9. The main message that I'm getting for this moon is that everything changes from here. It's just something that keeps coming through to me. I haven't pulled any cards yet. We're going to pull some oracle cards as well as do a tarot reading on this moon because I think collectively there's a big chapter that will end and simultaneously begin at or around this moon. Of course, August 9 is the day after August 8. And what is August 8? It is Lion's Gate, the closing of that portal. So there's a significant feeling of completion, illumination, clarity. And I just keep getting this feeling like this moon is where everything changes. So I don't want to talk anymore. I want the energy to come through the cards and we'll read accordingly. Any messages for the collective for the Aquarius full moon happening August 9. Aquarius full moon. An earth message to symbolize the events or the energies around the moon. Wow. So ancestors are coming through. Anyone have Aquarius in your 8th or 9th charts or houses? I do. So this is intriguing to me. Aquarius, I'm thinking of the vessel that pours from the stars, right? Aquarius is that vessel that heals, pours out the soothing elixir, the healing potions, the messages, the encouragement, the enlightenment. I feel like the connection is so strong right now. It's also the Perseid meteor shower, so there's a lot of activity happening in the sky. So a lot of you could be receiving messages from the sky. I do think specifically from star patterns. A lot of you could also be just intrigued by some classical studies. I do keep seeing the constellation of Aquarius, obviously, pouring out the vessel, but it symbolizes so much beyond that. So your connection is strong, it's clear, and I think your ancestors are making sure that the message gets to you. A really powerful time to look at cycles because Pluto is in Aquarius. It's not exactly conjunct with the placement of the moon, but it is in the same sign, so we can say it's a conjunction because they are sharing some energy. And Pluto is a deeply powerful archetype that sometimes takes things away from us. It teaches us hard lessons. It connotes power and wealth, and those things carry through ancestral lines. And I think ancestral healing, generational healing, is a huge part of this moon, and I think that's what's pouring out of that vessel coming down from the heavens. As I talk about this feeling that everything changes from here, and we get this Ancestors card, it kind of says that as much as things change, there is also a pattern that is written in the stars, written when you're born. Your handprint. What are you doing with your gifts? And how can you honor your ancestors, heal the generational wounds? I think this moon brings great clarity about things that need to be healed and things that need to change. It's also trining Uranus loosely. So Uranus is the breakthrough planet that wants freedom. Aquarius wants freedom. Uranus is revolution. Pluto in Aquarius is revolution. I feel like this ancestor card might not even be for some of us relating to ancestors. Of course, they always walk with us. They're in us. We carry them with us. But I'm wondering if ancestors is just speaking to a more general sense of those in power also. I'm getting something about power because the full moon in Aquarius is opposite the sun, which is in Leo, and Leo is about royalty, power, leaders, leadership. So of course we can look at this from an individual level and how we navigate our lives and how we connect in a bigger, meaningful way, how we navigate those transpersonal experiences that take us outside of ourselves and connect us to something greater. But there's also this feeling of something that we can't quite escape, or we can't quite be free of because we carry it with us. But what I think we can do is be aware of those things and recognize where we can change them. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of self-awareness. Excuse me. I don't know, it's weird. It's like something was trying to silence me as I said that. Do you carry, what is the pain that your ancestors carry? And I just want to give a disclaimer here. I don't want to come into this reading and talk about ancestors and generations as a source of pain. I think we talk a lot about wounding, and it's important to be aware of that, but it's also important to know your power and the gifts that have come through your familial line. Maybe some of us are not aware. We don't know who our ancestors are. That's a reality that a lot of people live with. They don't know who their ancestors were. But I feel like if that's your case, again, I'm being shown that Aquarian constellation of the person pouring the vessel. So something is available to you now. There's some knowledge coming through. Maybe some of you are finding out who your ancestors are. You're connecting with family in a deep way. Let's pull a card from the Sacred Destiny Oracle, because I also feel that this moon is closely connected to destiny. Fiddling with my hair. All right, connected to destiny. So let's get a destiny card for the Aquarius full moon, please. Leadership. And look at all those stars. Leadership. I'm seeing somebody taking great peace and comfort in sitting quietly and looking up at the stars and pondering or considering how they can feel more like a leader in their lives, a creator in their lives, this combination of something feeling out of your control as change is happening, but also how are you co-creating this, because it's not just fate. And so as much as we can look at that constellation and see the person pouring the vessel, this is not just something that we receive. This is also something that we must create and then share, right? We put it in the cauldron or the vessel, and we also share it. Vision. What does it mean to be a leader? I really feel that leadership and ancestors, you want to take control more of these cycles. You want to heal and honor those who've come before you, those you carry with you. And a lot of you may have this powerful leadership quality in your blood and in your stars. And leadership shows up in many ways, but first consider how you can be a leader to yourself. Maybe connect with an ancestor to get that message, or maybe just ask yourself in your life where you want to take leadership. A really interesting mix of nature versus nurture. You know, how are we co-creating with what's already given to us? What are we doing with the tools and the resources that we have received, that we are receiving? And I don't know why, but I'm tasting, sorry, I'm not trying to make this silly, but sometimes I get these scents or tastes that are contributing to the message, and I'm tasting pickle brine specifically. So, I mean, with Aquarius full moon, there could be something about the vinegar, the detoxing, or the preservation. Vinegar has, and fermented, right? It has this power to detox and cleanse and combat intrusive, invasive things like infection or bacteria, but it also preserves. So again, what are you wanting to preserve and what are you wanting to destroy? What do you need to destroy? Let's not forget Pluto is sitting with the moon. And when the moon is with Pluto, ooh, that's a very deep, deep place. That is like, you see the partial truth of something and you feel it more than you see it. You feel it more than you see it. Even how this bear is not quite solid on this card. So this moon seems to be illuminating something that you feel deeply and may not see, or you see it slightly, but you feel it there. And there are many things that we cannot see in this life, but there are many things that we can feel and feel only. Messages for the Aquarius full moon. The Queen of Wands, the Five of Wands. Leadership. Sovereignty. Knowing your worth. These people in the Five of Wands are so if they're fighting, they're so focused on fighting that they don't see a way out of the tangled mess they're in. Leadership requires you to pull back and look at tangled messes like that and figure out how to solve them, how to untangle. Aquarius is a solution sign. It's a logical sign. It's an air sign, so it puts an emphasis on our thinking and our problem solving, our ability to reason. And that, when you're so in the middle of something, it can be hard sometimes to think logically or figure out a solution when you're so in the middle of it. But I feel like that's where the Queen of Wands, she pulls back and she looks at these people, and that's what makes her a leader, because she's not distracted by the competition. She has her own sense of style. She has her own sense of sovereignty and her own vision, and she's not going to let these lower, distracting, urgent things. Like, this seems urgent because it's annoying, or it's inconvenient, or it's someone else's stuff. This is the moment where she pulls back and looks at this and goes, okay, you need leadership. I'm going to show you what to do. Follow my body language. Walk behind me. Do as I do. It's leadership by example. Body language is really key with the Queen of Wands. I'm going to continue to pull cards. I think some of you are experiencing a new relationship with yourself. Queen of Wands is very attractive, so a lot of you could be dealing with the Queen of Wands, finding someone very attractive, magnetic, outgoing, just has this undeniable pull. And Five of Wands could be all the suitors maybe fighting over her. I think this moon kind of has to, we have to look at pride and our reasons for doing things. Like, what are the motivations for the things that we do? Do we do them to show off? Do we do them because it's meaningful to us in truth? Aquarius will bring the truth. Let's continue to pull cards. What I wanted to say about these people was, yeah, if they're fighting, we talked about that, but in a way, it almost looks choreographed. And if that's the case, that also requires leadership, a plan for how we're all going to work together smoothly inside of something that maybe feels overwhelming or could be chaotic, but not with the right leadership. Who are the leaders in your life? I mean, who do you look up to for guidance? Whose example do you follow? What messaging are you filled with? I was thinking, Aquarius is about technology as well, and Uranus and Gemini, so much about technology. And the other day I was thinking about how the internet has changed so much. Because it used to be... I'm 35, so I'm one of the people that grew up without internet and then got the internet. So the internet used to be something that you would use to look for something. You had your plan, you had your reason for going online because there was something you wanted to find or learn about or participate in. And now technology, or the internet, is so algorithm-based that the internet tells you what to look at. You sign into all these apps and they tell you what to look at. They dictate what you're consuming. And so that can be a very confusing experience, because you can let's say you open your phone, you open that app with the idea to look for something, but you're met with all these notifications and new updates and all this stuff. And then you get distracted by you get distracted from what you initially sought, and you waste time. And I feel like that's part of this is how we use technology. And the imagery in tarot is very old-fashioned. Tarot was invented in the 1400s, centuries before people could even dream of what the internet would be. People were barely literate back then. Literacy is very tied to tarot because it coincided with the invention of the printing press, but still a very visual representation of storytelling. Ancestors. And leadership also makes me think of these old systems that we follow that were created long ago. And as I'm saying, technology is not represented on these cards. Does it need to be to coincide with the modern day? I say no. But it's just something to ponder, right? The symbolism, is it still relevant in your life? How does it translate? There's a lot about the old versus the new. And again, how do we combine them? But also, what do we take with us? What do we not need? So technology, so the internet dictates now to you what you are going to be looking at. And it takes a lot more brain power and willpower and focus and like to get to what you're looking for in a sea of confusion and overwhelm that is the online space. And so I think we need to really be critical, take a critical look at what we consume or what is being fed to us. What did you eat today? And who fed it to you? Did you have a say in that? And did it nourish you? Aquarius full moon. Okay, Ace of Wands, Wicked. So we've got a lot of wands. It's Leo season, and this is so much about action, initiation. A lot of you, your health is improving. Some of you, I feel, especially if you are female-bodied, you might be experiencing something with your reproductive organs. Something about your reproductive health there with the Queen of Wands, or maybe just stomach aches generally with the Five of Wands. There's just a lot of tension, muscle tension. And this DNA takes us back to that Ancestors card. It's in you. It's in you to rise, to feel your power, and to strike that match and apply that flame to a torch and carry that torch. There's a significant seed, a new beginning that feels exciting. It feels empowering. This is something you can grab with your hands. It's a crystal wand, so you can direct what you receive and what you give. Some of you, maybe as you sign in online, let's say, because it's such a mundane example, but it is something we are all affected by in 2025. You know, there's a lot of, we have to really be critical about the narrative that's being sold to us and why. Why would a company, like, you look at one thing and then suddenly your whole feed is full of everything related to that one thing you looked at? What is in a company's motivations to program something that way instead of just giving you what you've already subscribed to or followed? I'm very critical of that, and it's part of the reason I keep coming and going away from social media. You know, cycles. It's all about cycles. Anyway, this is so what I wanted to say. Some of you, when you sign in, maybe having a wand that you direct, this is just a paintbrush, but like maybe you have a crystal and it helps you focus, or you have something that reminds you of like what keeps you on track and what you're seeking, and, you know, being very intentional about that, because this is something else I've been thinking about lately too, because Aquarius is so much about the power of the individual, but it's also the power of the collective. So I don't want to focus too much on individualism, let's say, but sovereignty is important. And when you don't choose, it will be chosen for you. You know, sometimes we're worried about consequences of making choices, the consequences of taking certain actions. But we should also consider the consequences of inaction and the consequences of not choosing, because that means we're giving up our sovereignty, we're giving up the power of choice to something else who's gonna feed us. Any more messages for the Aquarius full moon, we've got the Three of Swords, the good old Three of Swords. Any more messages for the Aquarius? Okay. The Queen of Wands is peeking out, so, but I've got so many cards here, I want to put them back. I pulled the Page of Cups. It's my rule. What's on top? I just want one card. So I'm going to put this whole chunk back in the deck. But the Queen of Wands energy is, or sorry, the Queen of Pentacles energy is there. Weaving. I'm seeing weaving. I'm seeing roots growing under the soil. And we can't see the root system, ancestors. We can't see the root system under the earth. Are we aware of the roots that grow from us? Did you plant the seed of self? I just want one more card. I'm getting an emphasis on the number 6. One more card for the Aquarius moon. Okay. Remember how I just said I was seeing weaving or weaving imagery? There's the Empress. There's the Empress. Your creation ability. There's a lot of divine feminine here, but we do have masculine also. And the combination of both. A balance, a divine balance. Some of you, there is conception. A lot of you have been looking maybe to conceive or for messages of fertility. I see that very strongly in these cards. If you're looking for good news, if you're looking to conceive, I think that's very possible here. There's a realization about that. Others of you, there's such a strong transformation happening and a bit of a rebirth. You've got the Three of Swords, the Page of Cups, and the Empress. So we start off with this emotional pain, this wound that, you know, out in the rain, I'm so vulnerable. Open wound, being rained on, I can't find shelter. But what happens to something when the weather, like your skin, when the weather is just on it? It becomes weathered. It becomes stronger, tougher. And the Page of Cups is making this realization, oh, I can do something about this. Oh, I've got an inspiration. I've got an idea. I'm seeing visions. I'm feeling strange. I'm feeling strange about this because I've seen something that I can't unsee. A lot of you are really connecting to your true feelings at this moon. You can't deny those feelings anymore. That's why everything changes from here. You're feeling something really strongly, but you've been maybe ignoring it. I'm hearing the time to act is now. That's what I heard. But for others of you, finding that power of creativity and going back to my new moon in Leo video, talking about the power of, you know, choosing to create or choosing to destroy. What I see here is someone who has experienced destruction, but they are choosing to create. Weaving. I was sitting on the river with my friend yesterday. We had some really deep talks, and there were bees collecting pollen all around us. We saw so many dragonflies. We saw frog. We saw tons of birds, hawks, seagulls, ducks. And we just sat there and enjoyed the peace of the beautiful, bountiful, big river. And she told me a story of how she spoke to the grass and she spoke to the water and she asked Mother Earth to take some of her pain. And as she did this, 3 hawks began circling above, and they were kind of forming this, they were doing this braid formation. They were like weaving in and out of one another. And then as soon as she acknowledged and said, "Thank you for this message," they dispersed. So I'm thinking of weaving, how strong a weave is. For example, with sailors' ropes. Any rope, right? It's woven. It's not just a single solid thing. It's many pieces woven together to maximize strength. Many pieces woven together to maximize strength. I feel like I want to say fuck this card because I feel like as much as I love the Three of Swords, I have it tattooed on me because I kind of see it as a, you know, empowering message to like transform your pain into art. But I feel like this keeps showing up because it's a test. And it's like, where are you creating from pain? Are you creating from pain? Are you making decisions from a place of pain, from wounding? Let's look at this. I heard, does a leader need to admit they're wounded and let someone else take over? Okay, message received. Thank you. Weaving. Weaving, and there's the healed heart. There's so much potential for new inspiration, new ideas. There's a little moment of self-doubt, a little moment of, ooh, remember that one time I tried it and I was made fun of? Remember that one time I messed up? Who cares? Bye. Done with you. And that's powerful for me to say that because typically I'm like, oh, I love this card. Today I'm like, bye. So maybe I am transforming and I no longer need to make decisions from a place of martyrdom, but empowerment. And as I said that, a piece of hair was like shed on the cards. Oh, it's funny. So much symbolism and synchronicities around us. The Empress means you're creating from, like, what do you want to be doing? You're in the process. You're process oriented right now. You're creating, you're making something stronger. You're growing it. You're giving it your life force. You're giving it blood. Blood. Life force. There is something happening with health. I have to say that I think there is something about health and blood and DNA. I gotta get some messages on that, please. Because the science world is affected. I try to focus on, you know, guidance for daily living with my channel and how to navigate your path and your empowerment and your relationships and your connection to yourself. But I also like to explore themes like health and science. So let's get a message on that. I know we've already covered it with ancestors, but I feel like scientifically there's maybe a breakthrough. Aquarius, the humanitarian, Doctors Without Borders. Courage. 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 Obviously, courage is associated with Leo, the heart. The French word for heart is in this word, le cœur, à la cœur. Courage, it means of the heart, to have heart. That's where that word comes from. So have heart. Connect to the heart. What does your heart say? Maybe some of you have been so in your heads, and the card just fell out of my hand as I said that. Maybe some of you have been so focused on figuring things out logically and letting your head, the headspace runs 1,000,000 miles a minute. And it's impossible to keep up. But when you slow down and get into the heart space, that's a truer pulse. That's the magnetic force. That's the center of us. It's the middle chakra. It's the center from which everything pulses. The heart sets your rhythm. So what's the rhythm of your life? The rhythm of that weave. And the fact that these waves are just crashing up on those rocks. They're rocks. They stand strong against the waves. Earth contains water, but everything else can actually be destroyed by water. Water can erode rock, but it takes a lot longer. Or do you need courage to reach the shore? Do you need the courage to crash against something so hard, to go into it so intensely and powerfully? This is a really empowering moon that just tells us to be brave. Be brave. Be brave enough to connect to your heart. The heart wants what the heart wants, and the heart is not the ego. Did you just notice the light change? I thought I saw something flicker. This highlight here, I swear I saw it flicker, and that's my heart. So I don't know what that was. Maybe I just moved, but anyway. It was something I noticed. Must have just moved. Ice baths. Intense experiences that can cleanse the blood. Like ice baths, that forces the blood kind of into the center of the body and then flushes it out through the heart again. So it really kind of forces it to flush through faster, which cleanses it. Do you see yourself as the Page of Cups, or do you see yourself as the Empress? Do you see yourself as someone who things happen to as the Page of Cups? Someone who is feeling things and noticing things and is changing by them, but thinks, oh, I wish I hadn't seen that, or, just feeling very new, very fresh, and lacking autonomy to a certain extent? Or do you feel like the Empress, who does something with that vision, or who creates from her own creative space? The Empress, I feel, is a divine matriarch, I heard. A lot of you, going back to the Ancestors card, quite literally just women in your lineage. I don't know, maybe there's something about women, women's bodies, something at this moon that shows the resilience of women. There's a lot of divine feminine energy here. Leadership and courage. This is the moon that changes everything. You are creating your life. Your life is not determined for you. Your life is not chosen for you. Sometimes it can feel that way, but you are the creator in your life. Do you have courage to take the leadership of your life? lot of people don't have the courage to be a leader because it's easier to be a follower. A lot of people just want to show up and be told what to do so they don't have to think. This is an empowering full moon. So I think I'll leave it there, everyone. I hope this has been helpful. I've loved being able to sit and chat about this and read, so thank you if you've been sitting with me. If you want a personal reading, I will leave my email address in the description box. So find my email address, shoot me an email, and let me know what kind of reading you want. Let me know your questions and your focus points. I would love to read for you. And until the next one. And yes, I'm working on the other signs videos for August. It's just been a really busy first week of the month. Those will be coming out soon. Everyone, thank you for your patience, and I'll see you soon.